Assalamu alaikum everyone. So we'll begin the class now, inshallah. So today will be our first class, and the subject is COA, Computer Office Application. So let me go to the Google Classroom first. Yeah, and COA. Let me open the textbook. Yes, see the syllabus. These are the contents of the textbook. So totally we have 6 chapters. The first one is the basic concepts of computer. The second is basics of data communication and computer networking. Excuse me. Third one is introduction to internet. Fourth one is office productivity tools, part 1. Office productivity tools, part 2. Then the last one is planning and designing a website. So today we'll start with chapter 1, inshallah, basics concepts of computer. So the next thing is the syllabus. We'll also have a look on the syllabus, what each chapter will cover. So this is the syllabus for computer application, office applications. So the first chapter is again the basic concepts of computer. So it consists of computer organization, which covers how the computer is organized, then the input and output devices, then system software and application software. What is the basic difference in these? Then computer languages, the programming languages, and the different languages that are used to program the computer or run the computer. Then open source software. Then again operating system in detail. Then computer security. Then the second chapter consists of basics of computer networking and communication, which includes data communication, communication media, types of communication services, concepts of networking, benefits of network, types of network, teleconferencing, audio conferencing, and video conferencing. Then the next chapter is chapter 3, which is introduction to internet, applications of internet, services of internet, types of connections, and dial-up connection, ISDN connection, leased connection, DSL connection, cable modem connection, VSAT links, electronic mail, that is nothing but email, downloading files. Then we have the fourth chapter, Office Productivity Tools, part 1 and part 2. This shows how to create, save, manage Word files, Word documents, create different types of charts. This is basically in Excel, spreadsheets. Then page setup and printing, how to set the page and how to take printouts, creating tables for data sheet, then presentation using slides, then save and print a database. So the fifth chapter covers planning and designing a website. This is about building up a website, components of a website, planning a website, web page designing, web hosting. Okay, clear? So these are the 6 chapters that will be, 5 chapters that will be covered. Let me look here. Go back. Here it mentions 6 chapters, which is the chapter missing here. Go here. 5 planning, productivity. Okay, the 6 chapters only. Here it is mentioned separately. Office productivity tools. You can see this 2 times. So that is why it has come 6. And here they've combined it, part 1 and part 2. Can you see this? Part 1 and part 2 is combined, so it is showing it 5 here. So now I'm going to go back. Go back to our textbook. We'll open lesson 1. Okay. Yes. Can you see the screen? Is my screen visible? Okay. Let us start. Bismillah. Basic concept of computer. If you don't know anything or any field or any subject, it is very important to understand the very basics or the fundamentals of that particular subject or science. The concepts which are the fundamentals that helps us understand further the building blocks on which those are built on these fundamental concepts. So basically, computer is a machine, electronic machine. It also has basic concepts that we need to know first before we get into more details or advanced concepts. So first of all, it is introduction. Let me introduce the chapter. Then we have objectives. What is the objective of the chapter? Then we have the characteristics of the computers. Okay. Then we have functional units, how the computer is divided into units function wise. Then before that, I think yeah, functional units in detail. Then you have input output devices, various kinds of input output devices, printers. Then you have computer software. Again, the computer is divided into two, hardware and software. So earlier we covered hardware. Now this part covers the software, the system software, the application software, then the types of application softwares. Then again the computer languages. What language does the computer understand, and what are the types of languages that is covered here? Machine language, assembly language, high level language, compiler, interpreters. Okay. Then we have open source software, then again operating system. From here on, we get into the operating system. Here, Windows XP is covered, Windows XP desktop elements. Windows XP is actually outdated. We'll be using some the current Windows operating system available. Anyways, we'll go through this just as a brief glance later. Then what are all the components here of Windows? The start menu, the taskbar, how to start a program, quitting a program, getting help, and searching files and folders. Yeah. Then we have changing system settings, the control panel. Then you have my computer. Mm, this is a utility or tool used to see what is stored on your computer, what devices are connected, all that. We'll get into that. And then we have file management in Windows. Then using Windows Explorer, used to explore the files and folders, opening drives and folders, then copying or moving a file or a folder using my document, new file details, copying and moving files using Explorer, create a new folder, rename a file or a folder, delete a file or a folder, then computer security. This will be the last part of the chapter. Viruses, protecting computer system using antivirus software. And then precautions to be taken against viruses. Then you have the in-text questions, 1.1. What are the characters based on what we have learned? Then it's a summary of what the chapter covers or what we have learned or what you are supposed to learn. To confirm that what when we have gone through the chapter that we have learned these things. Terminal questions. These are the final questions of the chapter. We'll be taking as notes, inshallah. And these are the answers to the in-text questions. So this brings to the end of the first chapter. We just had a glimpse of the whole chapter. Now I'll go back and start from the beginning. Yeah. So as I already told you, the basics of important to understand and learn for any subject. So we'll start with the basics of the computers. Check once. Is the reading recorded? No, it's recorded. So basically, what is a computer? A computer is a programmable machine designed to perform arithmetic and logical operations automatically and sequentially on the input given by the user and give the desired output after processing. So basically, a computer is a programmable machine. That means it can be programmed and reprogrammed and fit to our needs or requirements. We can write instructions or softwares or programs to perform particular kind of tasks. Arithmetic and logical operations. Basically, arithmetic means the addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, the calculations of the arithmetic. Then logical is decision making, comparing, all the logical part of the combine. These two combined together are done on a computer. They are done automatically. That is pre-programmed. The computer cannot run. The hardware is only what do you call machine. It cannot do anything on its own. So you have to install the software or write the program. And as per the program, the computer executes the program or the steps automatically and sequentially. Sequentially, in the sense, in an order you have defined. The first step first, the second step second, the third step step. It does not jump the order. Whatever sequence is given in the program or in the software, it follows that on the input given by the user. So basically, a user is involved who gives the input or the instructions to the computer. The instruction by the user are considered input and gives the desired output after processing. So again, it is input, processing, and output. So if the user gives an input, the computer takes the input, processes it accordingly, and gives a desired output. So computer components are divided into two major categories. So the computer is again divided into two major categories, the hardware and the software. We will be covering that, inshallah. So hardware is the machine itself, its connected devices such as monitor, keyboard, mouse, etc. So hardware, the computer itself, the physical computer, what you can touch, feel, see, is the hardware and its connected devices. All devices connected to it, which you can see, which you can hold, which you can touch, which has a physical presence, are called hardware. That is, they are called hardware. Like for example, keyboard, mouse, monitor, okay, the CPU, the cables, the internal parts, all these are called hardware. Now, softwares are the set of programs. As I told you, programs are written in a programming language. The instructions or the programs written in a programming language are called softwares that make use of the hardware which run on the hardware for performing various functions. So now basically a computer is a programmable machine which takes any input, processes it, and gives output. Then you have computer corporate components divided as hardware and software. So hardware basically are physical things, the machine itself, and components connected or devices connected to a computer. Then software are programs which run on the hardware. Correct? This combination of software and hardware completes completely makes a computer functional. Now, again, the objective is after going through this lesson, you would be able to familiarize yourself with characteristics of a computer, what computer is, what its features are, what does it do, how does it function. These are the familiarities that you will get. Identify the basic components of a computer, again, the hardware and the software components. Then explain the importance of various units of a computer. The computer is divided into various units. Okay. Each unit has its own specific function. So differentiate between system software and application software. Again, the computer is divided into hardware and software. Again, the software is divided into two, the system software and the application software. Correct? Then we have is explain the importance of operating system. So operating system falls in the category of system software, and it is a very important piece of software. Every computer needs to have an operating system. Without the operating system, you cannot run the programs or software, the application software. The application software run on the operating system. So it is a very essential and important part of computer system. Get acquainted with open source. Again, this open source software. We'll cover that later, inshallah. Appreciate the need of computer security. Why is it important to secure your computer? Basically, the computer consists of data and information, which is very important and needs to be secured. So you will see why it is important. So the first thing now we understand is the characteristics of the computer. What a computer is, what are its features, why is it important, or what makes it important. The characteristics of computers that have made them so powerful and universally useful are speed, accuracy, diligence, versatility, and storage capacity. Let us discuss them briefly. So these are the characteristics or the features of a computer that makes computer very important and helpful. So the first one is the speed. Computers work at an incredible speed. A powerful computer is capable of performing about 3 to 4 million simple instructions per second. It is not per minute or per hour. Focus it. It is 3 to 4 million simple instructions per second, which is not possible by a human. So it can perform very fast and quick calculation, and this has been improving day by day or year by year. New processors coming, new hardwares are coming, new inventions are coming, technologies are coming, and everything in the computers, in the world of computers and technology, is improving day by day at a very fast pace. Then accuracy. Accuracy is again without any mistakes. Okay. In addition to being fast, computers are also accurate. Errors that may occur can almost always be attributed to human errors. Inaccurate data, purely designed system, or faulty instructions, programs written by the programmer. So, as discussed, the computer follows the instructions. Now let us come back here. Sorry. Yes, accuracy. So the computer is very accurate. Whenever error happens, it is somewhere the human attributes are involved. Either we provided the wrong data, inaccurate data, or it has the software or the system itself has some fault, or the program written is written by the program is not very well designed, or there are bugs in the software or mistakes in the software. So diligence is unlike human beings, computers are highly consistent. Like they do not have a mood, like we humans have. Sometimes we are sad, sometimes we are more productive, sometimes we are less productive, sometimes we are stressed, tired. So these qualities are not there in the computer. It's a machine, so it is always in one state. So it does not feel boredom, tiredness, or what. It can work consistently. Today also, morning also, even for long hours, except with the limitation of its hardware when it gets too heated or something like that. With regards to its capacity, it can consistently and continually accurately perform tasks. Computers, therefore, are better than human beings in performing voluminous and repetitive jobs. And one of the things with human tendency is that when they are given a repetitive job, they become manual and start feeling bored also. But the computers do not feel bored. However much you may give them repetitive tasks, they perform it with the same consistency and interest. So versatility. Computers are versatile machines and are capable of performing any task as long as it can be broken down into a series of logical steps. Again, versatile means it can fit in various fields and perform various tasks. It can be used for studies, it can be used for what do you call research, it can be used for weather forecasting, it can be used for video editing, audio editing, playing games, productiveness. So many various kinds of uses are there. And you can make use of the computer as long as you can write a program or break down into a series of logical steps. The presence of computers can be seen in almost every sphere or every field, like air, railway, air reservation, banks, hotels, weather forecasting, and many more fields. Even now, the class what we are conducting using the Zoom, the laptop, and the headphone mic, and your side phone or laptop, these are the devices. This also helps us in studying and learning and conducting business meetings and so many things. It also helps in sports, analyzing data and data analytics. So many places it is useful. So it is the versatility is one of the characteristics of the computer. Now comes the storage capacity. Okay, today's computer can store large volumes of data. So the computers earlier were very small and used to store very less data. As the technology has improved, we have what do you call devices or hard disks or SSDs or pen drives, various kinds of storage devices where we store data. And in today's world, we can store a large volume of data on even a small piece of hardware like the micro SD card, what we put in the phone. Okay, it is one of the storage devices. And basically in computers, it is hard disk or SSD or basically. A piece of information once recorded or stored in the computer can never be forgotten and can be retrieved almost instantaneously. Like we human beings, sometimes we tend to forget things, though we remember it is somewhere in our brain, but we are not able to recall it. Okay, it's not the same thing is not with the computers. Once you record an information, it is available. As long as you know how to recall it, you can retrieve the data instantaneously with very speed and accuracy. This is also is one of the characteristics of computers. It can store large amounts of data, and data is never forgotten. Data can be retrieved instantaneously. Okay. Clear till here? So till now we have covered introduction, objectives, characteristics of a computer. Now, if this is clear, we'll move to the next section. Computer organization. Okay. Basically, a computer system consists of mainly four basic units. These four basic units together form the computer and is organized as units. So the first unit consists of mainly four basic units, namely input unit, storage unit, central processing unit, and output unit. Okay. Can you repeat with me? Four basic units. Okay. Namely input unit, storage unit, central processing unit, and output unit. Central processing unit further includes arithmetic logic unit and control unit as shown in figure 1.2. See here. Can you see this figure on the screen? Program data. So whenever you input the data, input system is used or comes into picture, like the keyboard, the mouse, the voice, whatever it is. So the input unit takes care of that and then pushes it to the control unit, central processing unit. The central processing unit, you can see here, this one, this central processing unit is composed of control unit, arithmetic logic unit. This box you can see here. Can you see my mouse cursor? 1 minute, let me take this. Can you see here? Let us come here. Yeah, come to the figure. So this is basically input, central processing unit, output, storage. Sometimes the storage is involved, sometimes it is not. But basically, when the operating systems and programs are there and interact, so it is stored in the storage itself. So input, storage, central processing unit, output. Again, it can be stored. If the data is stored, it goes back to the storage unit. So once I give an instruction here to the computer, the input is handed over to the central processing unit, where control unit and arithmetic logic unit exists. They both form together as the CPU, central processing unit. Okay, then the storage unit used for storing programs, operating systems, and our data also. Then after processing, this this is handed over to the output unit, and output unit shows as a result on the screen or on the printer, whatever mode of output device you want. Basically and primarily, it is the monitor. Then it can be speakers, it can be printer, it can be other devices, output devices. Majorly, these are the three devices which are commonly used. So now we go to input unit. Discover this unit is used for entering data and programs into the computer system by the user for processing, right? As I explained. Now storage unit. The storage unit is used for storing data and instructions before and after processing. So before processing, the instructions are stored on the storage device. The instructions are nothing but the operating system and the software. It is a collection of instructions. So the storage is used for storing data and instructions. So data is also stored before, it is possible to store before also and after processing also. Then output unit. The output unit is used for storing the result as output produced by the computer after processing. As I explained. Processing. The task of performing operations like arithmetic and logical operations is called processing. The central processing unit, also in the short form called as CPU, the brain of the computer, takes data and instructions from the storage unit and makes all sorts of calculations based on the instructions given and the type of data provided. It is then sent back to the storage unit. CPU includes arithmetic logic unit, which is also called as ALU in the short form, and control unit, CU. Okay. Now let us understand what arithmetic logic unit is. All calculations and comparisons based on the instructions provided are carried out within the ALU. So the calculation part, the comparison part based on the instructions that we provide are taken care by the arithmetic logic unit, ALU. It performs arithmetic functions like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and also logical operations like greater than, less than, and equal to, etc. Basically, the comparison. Now, the control unit or CU. C for control, U for unit. Controlling of all operations like input, processing, and output are performed by control unit. It takes care of step-by-step processing of all operations inside the computer. Basically, it acts as a manager or a coordinator in the smooth functioning of all these unit. The control unit handles or controls the input, output, processing, everything. It manages. It is like a manager who helps the process complete. Clear here? Okay. Now let us move to memory. Remember this diagram. It helps you create a mental picture. So focus on this clearly. Observe what are the parts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Basically 4 in the central processing unit. This further divided into 2. So it becomes 5. So input unit, storage unit, output unit, then central processing unit. The central processing units again divided into control unit and arithmetic logic unit. So 10 minutes are left. We'll quickly finish memory also if possible. Computer's memory can be classified into two types, primary memory and secondary memory. Again, the memory is classified into two types, the primary memory, the main memory, and the secondary memory. Primary memory can be further classified as RAM and ROM. RAM stands for random access memory, and ROM stands for read-only memory. RAM, the type of memory, the primary memory or random access memory. Remember these things. The abbreviation is the short form, like RAM. These are very commonly used. Sometimes the expanded form is not used. Random access memory is not mentioned. They just say RAM, ROM, CPU, something like that. Okay. So if you get familiarized with these terms, RAM, ROM, CPU, and other words. So for now is the unit in a computer system. It is a unit. It is the place. It is the place in a computer where the operating system, application programs, and the data in current use are kept temporarily so that they can be accessed by the computer processor. So basically, the processor does the processing. Now the data, the application, the operating system, for example, has to be stored separately. So this is stored in RAM. Whenever you switch on the computer, the data from the secondary storage or the hard disk, first the operating system gets loaded into the RAM, then the application, whatever applications required, or the main application to start with the operating system also get loaded. And any application you open like Word, PowerPoint, Excel, whatever application software you open, when you click, that also gets loaded into the RAM. And whatever data you input or retrieve from the storage comes into the RAM. Imagine RAM as a working table. Okay, you have a table, working table where you work. So on the working table, you keep your tools, your things, your paper, your book, whatever task you are doing, you do it on that table. So that particular table will be your working space. So the bigger the table, you have the bigger working space. The same way, there is the capacity of the RAM, the size of the RAM. The bigger the RAM, the what do you call higher the capacity of the RAM, the better it is. So you work in the RAM, all your data, applications, operating system load into that, and this is where the working happens. The data is sent to the processor and received. The processor can access the information from there. It is said to be volatile. Volatile means since its contents are accessible only as long as the computer is on. Volatile means when the computer is on, the data is in the RAM, the data is there. Once the computer is switched off, the data is gone. It is not saved. So it is temporary and volatile. When the power goes off, the data also goes off. You don't get back the data. That is why we use the option of saving, and we save the data that we want to work on later or we want to save in the hard disk. So hard disk is non-volatile. RAM is volatile. The contents of RAM are no more available once the computer is turned off. This is a very important thing that you need to remember, that the data in the RAM, like for example, you open an application, type something, and you don't save it. And then you close, you shut down the computer, you don't get that back. You have to save it. Only then you will get the data, or the data is available for later use. Now let us come to ROM. ROM. Read only memory is a special type of memory which can only be read and contents of which are not lost even when the computer is switched off. It typically contains manufacturer's instructions. So ROM is a special type of memory where only you can read the instructions or the contents. You cannot write. But in RAM, you can read and write. These are usually manufactured in the form of chip, okay, by the manufacturer. It is on the motherboard or on the system, inside the system, which have some important instructions. Okay, it is important to safeguard that instructions also from manipulation or change. That is why they do not give the right access. It is only read. The computer reads it, the programs read it and make use of it. Among other things, ROM also stores an initial program called the bootstrap loader. The bootstrap loader is basically which loads the operating system, whose function is to start the operating system once the power is turned on. So as soon as you put on the computer, it is the ROM which takes the control and checks and pulls the operating system from the hard disk and into the RAM. Once the operating system is loaded, the operating system takes control of the excuse me. Correct? So basically, ROM is read only memory. It is a special type of memory. It is only read. You cannot write. It is usually contains instructions by manufacturers. Among the other things, the second thing is to also stores an initial program. It has a program called Bootstrap Loader, which helps the operating system to start. Okay, these are the two important things you need to remember with regards to RAM. Secondary memory. Okay, we'll come back to this. But before that, I would like to show a few things. Let me come here. Minimize this. Mm, okay. I have a few images here. Let me show you RAM and ROM. See, can you see this? Basically, these are the RAM chips. Okay. on the motherboard. The green color, what you can see here, these are RAM. Two modules are there. Okay, two chips are there. Here also you can see, I think it is, yeah, here you have a clearer picture. You can see this green color, this whole thing is one chip. There's one more chip here. Usually a motherboard has two slots. This is called a slot in which the RAM fits. Okay. Then I'll show you ROM also. I'll show you the motherboard also. You can see the motherboard. See? See, the processor fits in here, CPU socket, central processing unit. Here, memory fits, the blue one. These are extra PCI slots. If you want to add anything extra feature to the computer, which are available in the form of PCI slots, you can add here. 1 minute, let me see if you can find the ROM here. See something like this. You can see here next to the CMOS battery here. These are backside connectors where you connect your power cable, mouse, monitor, printer, audio, video, internet, all this. Okay. This is the heat sink which absorbs the heat. South bridge, north bridge, DRAM. So basically here the power gets connected, the power unit. So basically this is how a typical motherboard looks like. The RAM fits here. The ROM is integrated or fixed on the motherboard. This is the CMOS battery. Sorry, here the CMOS battery is here. Then let me check. Here, this is the ROM. Yeah, you can see this. See these chips. These are basically ROM. Read only memory, which has pre-programmed instructions on it. You can only read but can't write. Now compare this side by side. See, this part fits into the motherboard. This is soldered into the motherboard. This is removable. You can change, you can increase, but this is not removable easily. If this gets corrupted or this thing, you will have to go to a, what do you call it, repair this thing using a soldering, desoldering this thing. You have to remove this and then fit it again. So let me see, we have 3 minutes more. I'll also show you some of the input output devices. I got to show you. See, basically input devices: keyboard, scanner, mic for voice, mouse for clicking, webcam. These all fall under input devices. The output devices: printer, speaker, headphones, monitor. Now you have the tab, the fax. This is the what you call storage device or pen drive. These can act as both. These can be input device also, output device also. The way it is used, you can see this tab. This tab has a touch screen. Okay, when you touch it, it is an input. When you see the output, it is on the screen. The screen itself is an output. So the screen is acting as both input and output. The pen drive also, you can store the data on it, or you can access the data stored on it. When you access the data from the pen drive into the computer, it becomes an input. But when you load the data from the computer to the pen drive, then it becomes an output device. The fax, same way. You can send the fax, it is input. You can receive the fax, it is output. Fax was popular earlier when there was no email. After the emergence of email, fax has become very less common, but it's still used in corporate world and official world. So basically, these are the things. This also is the chart. You can see the characteristics of the computer: speed, accuracy, storage, diligence, versatility. Clear? Okay. Any doubts? So let us come back here. So we'll stop here. And in the next class, we'll continue with the secondary memory devices or secondary memory. If you have, just go through the chapter once, whatever we have covered. If you have any doubts, Maybe in the next class, I will review it. I'll ask questions also. And if you have any doubts, you can get clarified. This is how learning happens, a better learning. Clear? Hmm. Okay. Okay. Thank you, everybody. It's time now. We'll end the class. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.